The expectation for Drake is because he's so big, he's supposed to like essentially put all these artists on his back and be like, hey, look at everybody I've collaborated with.
This is probably going to be in my top 5 albums of the year.
Shout out the appropriation. Shout it out.
Less than a quarter of every stream in the US these days is from a current release.
And even though I'm an action star, sometimes I'ma act bizarre. Cause I'm an artist at heart. I'm not just an actor, y'all. This is the bounce. Watch Will, y'all. This is the bounce back. Here come the bounce back. Keep your eyes on them. This is the bounce back. Yeah.
He took the headphones off. Like,
yeah.
Yo, bro,
I tried to come in here and cape. I tried to come in here and cape for him, and I can't do it no more. This is episode 97 of the Rhythm and Rhymes podcast. I'm your host, AJ Hughes, and Big Willie. First rap Grammy. Not much to be said.
That shit is fucking hilarious. This nigga said,
I know Cole Bennett was in there confused, bro. He was confused. This is a different genre of music that he used to come
like, you want to go again? Like, you want to try again, bro? Like,
Take two. How you been though? How's your week been?
Pretty good, bro. Pretty good. I sold my La ticket, guys. Can't go. Got to go to graduation. Looking for a Sunday one. Want to see ASAP Rocky, but other than that, shit's going pretty good. Can't complain.
ASAP Rocky. You think he has a good performance, like live?
Yeah, I've seen a couple of them, and a lot of his stuff. I feel like his music is kind of made for performances. Like, honestly, like if you hear like that no sleep, no free, or LSD goes really crazy. A lot of his old stuff goes up in the albums, but yeah, in the concerts. But yeah, bro, I think it'll be good.
I might come back for Lala next year. You know what I'm saying? Make an appearance back in the city. We'll see. You know what I'm saying? But I wanted to get into this Drake Culture Vulture conversation again because I feel like the Wireless Festival, for a couple reasons, was very interesting. By now, everybody knows Drake. He did 3 days of Wireless. He headlined every single day in London, and he brought out everybody to bring out. He brought out Party Next Door. He brought out Lauryn Hill for a bit. Giveon. Who else did he bring out? He brought out Sench, Dave, Vibes Cartel, Popcorn, Burna Boy, Skepta. Yeah, it was. I'm not gonna lie. That probably, if I would have loved to have been there for all 3 days. Imagine if you could go all 3 days. That probably would have been one of the best concerts that you've ever been to.
Not even one of the best. That was one of the best concerts that like has happened in the past. I would say 10 years. Like, you can't name a lot of concerts that had that many people brought out in that short span of time. He brought out Rema too. Like, that was another one.
Yeah.
He brought out Rema. Like, there was a bunch of people he brought out. I was not expecting him to bring out. Even the Lauryn Hill thing. Like, I forgot that Nice for What was a Lauryn Hill sample for a second. Like,
right. He has so many people to reach to, and he's collaborated with so many people. But I saw a lot of conversation online where a lot of people are approaching this in similar fashion to obviously the rap and the Kendrick thing. I think the Kendrick verse about Atlanta is ringing through people's ears, especially with like him now doing a ton of stuff overseas. The thing I kept thinking about was people saying he's coming to these areas to take advantage and like use the sound or like ride the wave of the sound. And I wanted to ask you what you thought of that, because my thing is, I feel like the way people talk about it is as if it's not a reciprocal, it's not a transaction. It's like he's coming here and using X and not like giving back or shining a light on or highlighting somebody. But the way I look at it is like if he goes and does like a dancehall record with Popcorn, that brings people's attention to Popcorn. You know what I'm saying? If he does a record with Central C, like that brings a light to UK rap. Whether or not you like the song, it means he has to collaborate in some way. I wanted to know what you thought about that.
I feel like Drake has this like almost like best of both worlds when it comes to music stuff. Like obviously he's a foreigner to America, so it's like he understands the foreign lifestyle, I guess, and he's in these places a lot with these people. So I feel like he understands it in a way, and he's always kicking back to it, like giving in a way giving back to it and shouting them out. But I do feel like there is some level of it might be a little bit of the taking. Like I do feel like there's you could look to people like even if we're not going to the foreign stuff, like if we're just going to somebody
Mhm.
like Block Boy JB is the first one I always think of. What did that Drake song do for Block Boy JB past that one song? Or like when he did the song with what he did with McConan, like where is McConan, bro? There's definitely a bunch of people where you could point to them and be like, oh, he put them on, he really helped them out, he did this. But then there's that other side of people where it's like it was a moment that person was hot and he hopped on that wave for that time being, and then it did nothing for that artist post that. Like I feel like there's a bunch of instances of that where he was just there for the moment and nothing else. But I do feel like a lot of the UK stuff, specifically a lot of the dance hall stuff, like he's stuck in like being really for that and promoting that a lot and saying those are some of his favorite artists. Like he's been on that. So I feel like that side of it, he's done a pretty good job of like putting them on and constantly reaching back to that genre and to those people who are running that genre. But I don't feel like on the American side personally, I feel like there's more instances where the people didn't really benefit from it. Like you could say even you could even say the whole Meek getting his own number one from the Drake song was like him helping, but like did that really help him past the one song? Like what did that really do? You know what I mean?
What
That's where I question it.
but what is help, right? Because to me, and obviously this isn't you saying it, but
Mhm.
I when I hear it, it sounds like to me it sounds like entitlement, right? Like if I'm an artist and I like another artist or another sound or another song, and I want to collaborate with the artist, and we do the song and we put it out. After that, what do I owe you as an artist, right? Like because I'm the bigger artist, am I supposed to now like I'm supposed to repost everything you got. I'm supposed to put money in your pocket. I'm supposed to bring you on tour with me. Every artist that I collaborate with, like I think if two artists of the same stature make a song, they put it out and it does well. After that, what is owed to that artist? You know what I mean? I feel like the expectation for Drake is because he's so big, he's supposed to like essentially put all these artists on his back and be like, "Hey, look at everybody I've collaborated with." But I think like you said, the dance hall, the Afrobeats, it's like you collaborate with Wizkid. Wizkid is that guy. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Whether the song does well or not, Wizkid has a fan base of people that are gonna listen to him. Popcorn is that guy. You know what I'm saying? Central C, Dave, these guys over there, they're those dudes in their respective markets. And I feel like here in America, when he either hops on a trend or a wave or hears a song that he likes and collaborates with an artist, is like, what am I supposed to do for McConan after we put this song out? That would be my question.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Like I think it's just the more so people see it as like, oh, you see a wave, you hop on it, and then the next wave comes, you're just wave to wave. You're not really, you're only doing it to be visible over there. You're not doing it as like, oh, I love this style of music, so I'm gonna stick in this style of music. I don't even think it's what you're giving to the artist. I more so think it's like you see a wave, you hop on the wave. You see the next wave, you hop on that wave. Oh, a new wave comes. Oh, I'm riding that one too. Like it's just like hopping from wave to wave instead of I like this music and I'm gonna make this. But I don't know. Maybe I don't know. That's just
Fair
my
enough. Fair enough. I guess to wrap, I think like I feel like I come on here and have become like a Drake, like I cape for Drake now. It's kind of crazy, but I think like when I was really thinking about this during the week, I'm like the first time I ever heard a UK rapper was because of Drake. You know what I'm saying? Like the first UK song I heard was that song with Dave that came out like ten years ago. You know what
yeah.
I'm saying? That was the first time I ever heard a UK rapper. And then I heard Skepta for that. I was like, the Skepta song on More Life is cold. You know what I'm saying? Could you
Mhm.
imagine like being introduced to an audience in that way? The first time I heard like Afro beats in a meaningful way, like was the Wizkid record. You know, a lot of us, the first time we heard anything Afro beats a, was that Wizkid record. And so it got me to thinking like I don't want to say isn't that enough, but isn't that enough? Like he opened my eyes to two of my favorite genres now in high school. And so when people are saying like, yeah, he's just using the wave, it's like he actually put me on. He actually put me on whether or not like like I credited Drake at the time, or like when I went on to listen to music, I credited, oh, Drake put me on. It was like it opened my eyes to something that I might not have been open to prior to. And so when I hear people saying, "Oh yeah, he's using these people," it's like, bro, he shine. To me, it sounds like you didn't have enough motion to sustain the Drake wave. That's what it sounds like to me. It's like the song hit, people liked it, and then you didn't have nothing to follow up with, or you didn't have a catalog substantial enough for people to become a fan. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm sure people went. I became a Wizkid fan after the Wizkid song. You know what I'm saying? It was a ton of Wizkid music for me to go find because he's that guy. And so it just got me to thinking like it feels like people want a handout. It's like I feel like just the collaboration should be enough in a way. You know what I'm saying? Like having Drake come through and put eyes on you for a second, it's like, what is he putting eyes on? You got something substantial to share with people, you know. And if you do, then you lit. That's how I look at it. I don't know.
Yeah, I think they also you could also point back to the whole Kendrick with the LA artist thing. Like I remember when people started talking about, oh, Kendrick ain't helping his city, Kendrick ain't doing this, Kendrick ain't doing that. But then you saw somebody like Ashike who his song got played on the Super Bowl. Like he started doing hell shows after that. He's still releasing good music. He had stuff
Yeah,
prepared for like, oh, this big artist called me, I'm ready to back it up. But like then you see some of the other artists, they struggling, they still you ain't seen no music from them since. Like there is still some level of like you got to meet me in the middle and you still got to put in the work on your side and put yourself on because it's like once people know you it's like now what. So yeah.
yeah, yeah. I think the appreciation I feel like I've had for Drake combined with what we're doing, it's like Kendrick is super concerned about African Americans, LA
Mhm.
culture, you know what I'm saying? Which is well, we need that. You know what I mean? The way he highlights it, we need people to put our culture on the forefront. But I think the way Drake has approached it, forget the politics, is like our culture is more than just, and that's what I feel like you get from global cities like a Toronto. You know what I'm saying? It's a
Mhm.
lot of Caribbean people there. It's a lot of African people there. It's the collaboration with African American because it's right. You know what I'm saying? Like he looks at us. I don't want to say I don't put words in his mouth, but the way he's gone about his music career is looking at us as a global culture as opposed to like these individualized. This is LA. This is
Yeah.
America. This is West Africa, which I think is what like that is the sentiment of what we're doing here. So like when I look at it in totality, it's like he's putting black music on the forefront of global music. And whether or not you like the way he's doing it, it's like he's spreading Afrobeats to the West. He's spreading Caribbean music more to America. I think that's something to at least like, you know what I'm saying? Like let him cook. Just let him cook.
You didn't even mention the reggaeton with the Bad Bunny song.
Reggaeton. I just went back and listened to that Bad Bunny song they had on For All the Dogs. It wasn't that bad. It
It
wasn't that
wasn't.
bad.
It really wasn't, bro.
Shout out to the homie. Tell me about the decreasing US dominance in global streaming. I feel like we're looking into a crystal ball here. We've been talking about this for a minute, but now we got numbers. You know what I'm saying? Let's back it up.
We got some numbers here, so let me just drop the bomb at the front. Less than a quarter of every stream in the US these days is from a current release. So
Less
that's a
than a
big one for
quarter?
me. Yeah, less than a quarter. So it's right now it says current tracks claimed a mere 24.2% in market share of total US audio streams in H1 2025. Do you know what H1 means before I continue? I keep saying H1, H2.
Half one. Half one.
Half
So
one.
the first half. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So half one. And then catalog tracks, those older than 18 months, claimed a whopping 75%, 75.8% of market share. So this article was interesting to me just because it was talking a lot about the current streaming landscape and how stuff is going. It's saying that the US market share on global demand audio streams has fallen from 43.4% in 2019 to about 27%
Oh
in
wow.
2025, which is a big drop. Like it's projected to drop below 25% in the next year or two. US audio streams did grow by 4.6% in half one, now that I know, of 2025. Streams outside the US jumped by a larger majority of 12.6%. Some other things about this was really just the decline in the mega hit. So market share of the USA's top 10 tracks is shrinking in the first half of 2025. The top 10 tracks accounted for only 0.52%, not even a whole percent of US audio streams, down 1.6% from a few years ago. The biggest track of this year was Luther with Kendrick and SZA as far as streams go, and it had fewer streams than the biggest hits of the previous years, those years being 2023, 2020, 2019, and 2018. And I think it's really just showing that a lot of the older music that we were listening to had a lot more staying power. It had a lot more like replay value. And we're gonna get into the Clipse album later, but that's why I like the Clipse album so much, because I feel like it's something that I will be able to and want to go back to. Versus if you look at something like Jack Boys, I'm not listening to that again. Like I listened to it once, I'm not going back to that. It's very here
Wobbity
today, gone
wobbity wobbity
tomorrow.
wobbity wobbity wobbity.
Dude, he's
Glorilla.
garbage.
Shout out
He,
Glorilla.
that shit
Continue.
was
Sorry,
garbage.
I had intrusive thought. Continue. My bad.
No, you're good. You're good. But really, the end part of this that I really wanted to mention was that reports suggest that music companies focus solely on creating here today, gone tomorrow hits for the US charts may need to reconsider this long term strategy as the market is shifting towards a global landscape and a catalog based landscape. What do you think about this? I want to know what you think about this.
I think that knowing what we know, the writing was on the wall. Me and you already knew this was already going to happen. I read an article last year talking about this term called localization, I think it was
Mm-hmm.
called, where essentially like people in Italy want to hear Italian music. People in West Africa want to hear West African music, whereas before, and my whole, I guess, hypothesis was that we were so far ahead for so long because we just owned media. You know what I'm saying? We made all the movies, we made all the TV shows. We had the distribution to get music out. We weren't the only ones making music. I think that's something that people forget. We weren't the only ones that made music. We were just the only ones that were able to put it out to people everywhere. And now that's not really a thing. Now people have phones, now people have YouTube, they have streaming services. And so people in these local areas are making more culturally aware music, for lack of better terms. Like
Mm-hmm.
somebody in Nigeria is going to know what type of show that somebody in Nigeria would like to watch, as opposed to somebody in New York. They might have a better idea, essentially. And I also think I didn't know Luther was the biggest song of the first half of the year, but I think what's going to have to happen is, yeah, that last line you said, the here today, gone tomorrow hit. I don't think that'll ever leave. But I think it's a multitude of things. I think the first is that because the labels are so invested in artists and in labels now, it's like they're controlling the narrative in terms of what type of music we're playing, how we're putting music out, how we're releasing music, like that type of stuff. Like, I don't know if you read the little he put an image up on Instagram, Bremma, talking about how the label wanted him to release that last album, Heist, and
Mm-hmm.
how he actually went about it. They wanted him to do a traditional release where he like worked a single, put out the second single, put out the third single, but he fought for it to just be released as one body, one piece, one project, And I feel like songs on that still have staying power. Like a lot of those songs you'll hear out. But I think what it's gonna take for artists is just like you have to like unplug from the timeline. You just have to make good music for music's sake, as opposed to like thinking people are gonna forget about me. I need to put something out because I don't think anything substantial comes of that, because you're gonna be looking at trends, you're gonna be rushing, you're just gonna be throwing stuff out, as opposed to like what's good and what will people actually consume, and what is actually a net positive, essentially. But I'll be interested to see which artists actually do cut through, right, in the US, because like we said, like people want to hear more local music, so you have to tap into those sounds to really be able to I guess get them to listen. And I think what do I think? I have another thought about like the streaming stuff that I'll share in a bit, but I think that hopping in the booth with producers and artists from those areas and really trying to understand the sound is something important. Like I think the season of Amapiano that we're doing, I can hear a lot of American artists on Amapiano records. Like this weekend, I was working on instrumentals and vocal stems, like trying to put American artists on Amapiano instrumentation. I think it's gonna take stuff like that, where it's like you understand the vibe that they're on, and you're trying to make something for them specifically in a way.
Yeah, I even think I saw like somebody like Jordan Lucas. I was listening to some of the recent album he put out, the ADHD2 shit, and he had a song
Mhm.
on there with J Balvin and Fireboy DML,
I
and
saw
I mean
that.
yeah, it was a pretty good song. Like I think that's what's gonna have to start happening is like there is a whole nother market in all these other places open, and you just have to go and find them. You kind of have to use the Drake method. Like you gotta do the Drake thing and go and
Yeah.
go into these areas, understand their culture, like of course respect the culture, but go in there and collab with them and make some hits, make some hot shit. Yeah.
Yeah. There was one topic that I forgot to mention to you beforehand that I thought somewhat related to this. So Afrobeats Intelligence, one of my favorite podcasts by Joey Atkin. He put out an episode last week with Lanre Masha, who I think he's West African, but he grew up here in the States. He went to TSU. He is the head of West African music at Orchard, which is the distribution arm of Sony. That's Orchard is where Bad Bunny is signed. Like Orchard is fairly big. And so he got into breaking down like the Afrobeats landscape. And one thing, the stat that I pulled away from that I thought was so interesting was that one stream in America is worth 9 streams in Nigeria.
Oh shit.
So to get one person to listen to your music here is equivalent to having 9 people listen to it in West Africa, which I think it presents an interesting like conundrum for global artists because like if you're an American artist, you have less of an incentive to go deep into these other global markets, right? Like to go deep into West Africa, it's like you have to penetrate like greatly to get some significant revenue from that region, as
Yeah.
opposed to a Nigerian artist getting getting one person to listen to music in America, right? So it almost de-incentivizes it kinda de-incentivizes different groups of people, right? So a Nigerian artist probably has more incentive to go to, and I think this is why you saw Burna Boy turn so heavily into, like, Western music or try and, like, lean into it so much with, like, a City Boys and, Naughty by Nature and stuff like that because you're
Yeah.
gonna get more if you get more American artists listen to it, you're just gonna make more money. The country that pays the most for streams is Sweden, and that's because that's where Spotify is based. And I think we're gonna get a lot of interesting music because artists are gonna start targeting different markets in different ways, right? And I think that gives us an an edge on a lot of other, not podcasts, but like media platforms. Because
Mhm.
if we can shine light on these markets that have less streaming power, then they look to us as like, I don't want to use kingmaker, but a tastemaker, like a curator. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
if we can get Americans to get interested in their stuff, then that makes us interesting to them. And I think that's the goal. But I thought that was a really good interview. It's on OK Africa's YouTube page. Just search Lanre Masha Afrobeats Intelligence. But that stat was crazy to me.
That is crazy. Yeah, I think so. So you were saying that one stream in America equals 9 streams in West Africa. That
Yeah.
was the dang. I kind of want to know how that works. Like, is that just like how much money you're getting from it, or is that like how just literally how many streams it is?
So basically, the way that they calculate a stream has to do with like subscription revenue, like free
Mhm.
versus paid. So
Yeah.
here, Spotify, I think is like 9.99 or 10.99. In Africa, I think it was like 1.99, and they moved it up to 2.99 recently.
Hmm.
So there's that because they just have less. They just make less.
Yeah.
They have less money to play with over there. And then advertisers, like if you think on the free side, they're going to target markets that have purchasing power, right? So they're going to target us. And so they're willing to pay more money for advertising space in America than they are in West Africa. And so it's like on not a sliding scale, but it just depends on those two things primarily. How many subscriptions do they have in an area? And then how much are advertisers paying to advertise in those areas? But I guess from a business perspective, this is super interesting to me because, like, thinking about marketing and agency, like the way advertisers work, it's like these big companies want. platforms that have a ton of reach so that they can reach as many people as possible. But they
Right.
also want they also want to reach people that are willing to buy the thing. Black people globally are some of the biggest consumers out of any ethnic group. And so
Mhm.
I think these advertisers just don't know how to communicate with or reach us in the most effective way globally, which I always look at things that people look as like a negative as an opportunity for me, right? I look at that as something like to dive deeper into. But I think that's a real big reason why. Because I just feel like to them it's saying we can't figure out how to make money off advertising in West Africa. And if you locked me in a room for a week, I could come up with a way. I
Yeah.
don't think that's crazy.
Yeah, I think that kind of points back to the thing I said in the rock video. If y'all haven't watched that, go watch that on our YouTube. But they were talking about like, or I was talking about it was my video. I was talking about the fact that, um, like when Elvis and Chuck Berry and Lil Richard and all them people came out, the labels and the art and the producers and stuff, they found it easier to market a white face instead of trying to market a black face or to that group of people. So I definitely see that parallel there.
That's a fact. That's a fact. That was a good video. I ain't gonna lie. That was one of my favorite videos that you made.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
That's it for news. You know what I'm saying? I did want to mention 50 Cent is suing his ex girlfriend over tell all Instagram videos. He claims he owns her life rights. He signed her to G Unit Books in like 2007, primarily so she couldn't talk about their relationship and what they had going on. And I guess she had never attempted to until recently. And she posted some Instagram videos, and now he's suing her for $80,000. I think that's some I don't know. I don't care what you think of it. I just think that's some player shit. I don't know.
And I think, bro, I think 50 Cent is on the low one of the smartest niggas we've seen come out of the streets.
100%.
Like
It's not on the
for
low.
him to
It's not on
even
the low.
No, but for him to even have that foresight of like, okay, she might talk about me 10 to 15 years from now, whatever he was thinking at that time. Let me side her to a deal just in case she feels like saying. So that's crazy. That's
The
crazy to
real
me.
Death Row Records. The real Death Row Records. What y'all saying? Let's talk about new music. I do want to mention Burna Boy a little bit later. We don't have to spend a ton of time on it, but let's start with the clips. Let God sort them out. 13 tracks, 40 minutes. What'd you think? You had plenty of time with the album now, so
This is definitely this is probably gonna be in my top 5 albums of the year. I don't know if maybe I'm speaking too soon. I don't think I'm
you're
speaking
not.
too soon.
You're not.
But yeah, like I said earlier, I feel like this album is gonna have a lot of staying power. I feel like you can hear the amount of effort and work they put into these tracks from the beats up to the raps. Like you can really hear I feel like you can really hear every aspect of the work. I feel like the features were pretty well placed. A lot of people said the Kendrick verse was kind of I like the Kendrick verse and where it
No,
was
it was
placed.
hard. It was
I thought
hard.
it was hard. I thought it was hard, bro. And then the Tyler the Creator verse was crazy. Mike Tyson blow to the face is
That's the one. That's the
ridiculous.
one. That's the one. Yeah,
Ridiculous, bro.
yeah.
Fico is probably one of my favorite things I've ever heard Pusha T on. And then obviously on So Be It that CLIP, SEP, A Ball LV, like
I could teach you how
there
to
was,
move a brick if you let me.
bro, way
Mm.
too many good songs on here. It's concise, so I can keep going back to it. I love this album. Personally, I love it.
I love it too. I think it's funny because like a lot of the music that I listen to now is predicated off me thinking rap has been boring for the most part, and rap has been pretty dull. But I love when an album comes out that reminds you why you love rap. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Put your backpack on, making a stank face driving down the street. Like you don't we don't have moments like this very frequently. And I think the interview that they did with the Joe Budden podcast, Park says something it was so true to just art, where he was like, you can tell by the way that they marketed it, the way that they put everything out, the way they sequenced the songs. Another thing Pusha T had said, there were no extra tracks for this album. Like the only tracks that they had for this album were the ones that they made. And I think that speaks to effort, right? They had a goal of making an album and they wanted to make each song as best as they possibly could. Like, many artists have a ton of songs that come out, and everybody has a different process. But I think like the thought that we're gonna try and make this song as good as we possibly can. We don't have anything else that might make it. Like if like we didn't have anything extra because we put everything into these 13 songs. I'm gonna send you the clip from the interview of what Park said, but it was just like, put effort into your art and care. Like that really rung true for me. But in terms of the actual tracks, Mike Tyson Blows to the Face might be my favorite song on here. So Be It is hard. The Nas song, Let God Sort Them Out, Chandeliers, the beat switch on there, not Nas's voice. Like I miss rapper voices. Like dudes was like, you like this is a rapper voice. When Nas come on there, that's one of my favorite verses on the whole album. And then I also agree that the Tyler the Creator record was hard. They said that on there he was talking about Playboy Cardi. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did see that. I believe it too.
You know what's
Fuck
crazy
with
is
that.
that they said the verse that he got taken off the album is on the vinyl, and I have the vinyl. I'm gonna go listen and see because I listened to part of the album, but I didn't make my way all the way through it. So I'm gonna see if I could spot him on there.
Which album was it?
Tyler's last album. Which one was that?
Oh, that wasn't Call Me If
Chromacopia.
You Get Lost. Chromacopia. Oh,
Chromacopia. I pre-ordered the vinyl and I jumped the gun. I pre-ordered it because I loved the last 3 albums he put out. And then I heard the album on streaming and I didn't like it, but I'd already bought the vinyl. So I never really listened to it on the vinyl player.
yeah. Oh, that makes sense. I low-key didn't even realize but that is crazy. And I think, did you see that Tyler putting out that new album on Monday?
We put out a new album on Monday?
Yeah.
Tomorrow?
Yeah.
When they listened to this 2 days ago. Really?
Yeah. Yeah. It's called
Mm.
Don't Break the Glass. He had on it was like a cartoon drawing of him with it was almost like a Run DMC or like, I'm trying to think. It might have low key more so been like a LL Cool J type of look where he ain't had no
Let me
shirt on,
see.
big gold chain. Yeah, look it up. I think it's gonna be good. I feel like he's gonna be more on the DJ Drama album stuff, like the Call Me If You Get Lost. I think it's gonna be more like I'm rapping y'all to death because niggas been playing with me.
Yeah, who knew Tyler the Creator would save hip hop? Who knew?
Hey man,
Who knew?
Tyler
I'm
Creator
hyped.
saving hip hop out here.
I know what I'm listening to tomorrow. Yeah, so listen to Clipse. That album probably you're not jumping the gun. That might be top 3 for me right now. Like for the year. We didn't do a mid-year recap. Do you want to do that?
Yeah,
Next week or
we could
something
do
like
that
that?
next week. I was low-key thinking about that, but what's it called? The other one I've been thinking about a lot too is that Central C album. Obviously, like it came out so early that niggas
It was
forgot
in
how good that
January.
album.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. I could
Yeah,
know because I
yeah.
remember I was still in school and my roommate came out of his room. He was listening to CRG with Dave, and he was like, "Bro, this might be the best album of the year already." I was like, "Dude, it's 2 weeks
It
in,
might
but
be.
definitely one we
It
gotta
might
go
be one of
revisit."
them. Yeah, for sure. We'll talk about that next week. The next album I wanted to talk about, well, EP. I'm calling it EP. You put out 7 songs in 20 minutes. It's an EP. Odeal put out The Summer That Saved Me. I would say Odeal is my favorite new artist. Even though, what do you call a new artist, right? Like, what is a new artist? He's been putting out music for years, but he's my favorite new artist as of recently. 7 tracks, 20 minutes, 1 feature, which is Leon Thomas on the intro, Miami. It's a good project. I guess you could categorize it as Afrousing, which is sort of like to me when I listen and I hear people talk about it, it sounds like westernized Afrobeats. And what I mean by western, I mean like J Hus. J Hus with it sort of sounds Afrobeats-ish, but he sounds British on there. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't sound like my favorite songs on this project personally, London Summers, one of my favorite records of the year so far. My Heart is also very hard, and then Monster Boys is really good. Actually, this whole bro, it's 20 minutes. You could listen to this whole thing and not skip anything, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I heard that the song with him and Leon Thomas, and then I did hear the Monster Boys song. It was stuff that came up on my suggested for some reason. I hadn't even seen it, but I'm definitely gonna listen to
Yeah.
this rest of the album. Definitely
Yeah,
could see how the
he
Afro
sit
swing thing's coming along.
he sits right on the intersection of like R&B, which I think it makes so much sense that he signed that. LVRN is low key going crazy with their signings recently. Like they have a lot of Afrobeats on their roster now that people don't talk about. And I think we should talk about that sometime. But he's right on the intersection of R&B, Afrobeats, and like house. You know, a lot of his biggest records, he immediately goes and gets the Amapiano. Goes to get DJ Matt Parissa, does the Amapiano version. Those are my favorite songs of his, the Amapiano versions of his original R&B songs. They're so hard. They're so hard.
I'm definitely gonna have to tap more into him, bro. I've heard a lot of his stuff, but I feel like I haven't been giving it the deep dive it deserves.
Yeah. And then finally, this is a brief. We won't dive into this because you know Amapiano albums are long. Kabza De Small put out a project, Bop Mother. Yo, I recently went to look at the most spoken languages in South Africa, and Zulu is the most spoken language outside of English. And they say that's one of the harder languages to learn because like some of the sounds that they make with their words, we don't even have like references for. Like they use like clicks in some of their words. So I don't feel bad
Yeah.
about like butchering these names anymore. I'm gonna try better, but it's like, bro, if you put a click in the middle of a name, I'm never clicked in my life. I've never clicked in my life. But this project, 16 tracks, an hour and 49 minutes long. A lot of jazz sounds on here, a lot of saxophone. I would say if you want an idea of what type of sounds are gonna be on the album, just go listen to the song on there called Interlude. It's crazy because it's a 4 minute and 40-second interlude, but it's just instrumentation. It's hard. DJ Matt Persa is on this album. Young Stunna, who is one of my favorite, I don't want to call them rappers, but I almost want to call them rappers, like vocalists on all my piano records. He's on here a lot. And then I would say my favorite record, and then Iniji Remix is also very hard. But if you're trying to get an Amapiano or you're looking for something to throw on while you're cleaning on a Sunday, throw this on. Singles and other music worth mentioning. You had Late to My Own Funeral and Beloved on here. Why don't you? I didn't hear those, but why don't you get into those? Tell me what you thought. I saw the Give Me Our project. I just didn't have time to get to it.
Okay, so I'll start with Late to My Own Funeral. Again, like I've told y'all before, Nicholas Craven is one of my favorite white boys in hip hop. He's sitting right there with Alchemist for me, at least. Not I wouldn't even say producer wise, just as far as the music he's making, crazy. But Boldy James has put out so much music this year. They're all concise, quick albums. I liked a lot of songs off of here. I would say my favorites were Antonio Tuttle, and then The Whole Shebang was another good song on here. I like Meal Prepping as well. I always feel like his names are really wild. But outside of that, the Giveon project, Beloved, I loved. Immediately was like, oh, is this going to be in my top albums of the year? Like, is it going to be there for me? I think it might be. A lot of the songs on here sounded really good. I felt like one thing I've always had an issue with Giveon is I felt like a lot of his music can sound really polished when it comes to R&B. Like I feel like there's some level of like dirtiness you want to hear with R&B, some level of rawness you want to hear with R&B, and I feel like Giveon from day one has had this level of like money behind him that didn't really give him that kind of leeway. Like it's all gonna sound polished. It's gonna sound like some of the best stuff out. But the best songs I found off of here, Numb, Keeper was really good. That run from Backup Plan to Don't Leave, ridiculous. And all I can say about that is really you niggas need to bring back Yearning on these R&B tracks because you know I'm gonna give y'all on here. Sometimes you gotta hear a real girl, bro. Like sometimes you gotta bring back the Yearning, bro. But other than that, I really heard Island Boys by Mike Towers. That was the last album I really heard. That I wanted to mention. That was pretty good as well. I didn't get to listen to the whole thing yet, but the songs I would say to go listen to off of there. I don't know why this is being so slow. Now my laptop is tweaking. The songs I would say to go listen to off there that I really liked, Jetsko. I don't know why he didn't just put his jet ski, but Jetsko. And then Rika Baby, who was featuring on that? I can't even see the feature right now. But Rika Baby, Jetsko, those were two good songs
De
off
La
of there that y'all
Ghetto.
Oh,
De La
they
Ghetto
like
was the feature. He's like a producer artist.
okay. Okay. Those are
Yeah,
my
I'm gonna listen to
albums.
that.
Yeah, so yeah, go listen to those.
I heard he had a song with Omale on there, which
Mhm.
was decent. It was alright, but that popped up in my release radar thing. But yeah, I'm gonna go check that one out for sure. Boldy James really doesn't miss. Giveon is interesting to me because I think like people realized he was super polished when he did that one show. Remember when they had messed up his mic or whatever, and he came out, his voice was cracking and everything.
Yeah, yeah, I
But
remember
from
that.
that, I used to love Giveon, but when I seen that, I was like, oh, it's fake. Like I remember when that moment hit me, it's like, oh, it's fake. I think like with R&B, you give them leeway, like if they don't write their own music, but it's like if you can't even sing like we think you can sing, it's like you're kind of I don't want to call him a puppet because he's still an artist, but it's like you don't write the music. The engineer is really the one doing your vocals. You know what I'm saying? And then the label is putting it all together and packaging it. It just had me feeling away. But it's good music though. It's just something in my head where I'm like, I can't get past it.
Yeah, Malice said, "Hey, I sung along with rappers that I never believed."
Yeah.
Uh,
Singles other than that, Adekunle Golds, he's taking advantage of the Def Jam label. Coco Money is a hard Afrobeats record, but the hook samples Rihanna's "Bitch Better Have My Money." That's the hook. Better have my money, and then it's over some Afrobeats drums. Better have my money. It's hard, but yeah, he bit the hook. It's the same hook. Lil J put out a single called Tenor, which is the intro to his next album, which comes out in I think it said like 22 days or 21 days or something like that. So looking out for that. That song is hard. It's probably my favorite single that dropped. J.O. from the UK, he makes like Afrousing R&B music. He put out a song called Turning Me On. That song is really good. Did you hear any of those three, or we can just go to J Balvin?
I heard the JO song. That JO song was hard. I love JO though now.
Yeah,
Like after
yeah, he's
after
hard.
I heard that from 22, I was hooked. Y'all got me. You got me.
Yeah, it's crazy. He was performing when I went to London the first time, and that was the only song I went to see him perform. I just left after that. I just left. I'm just kind of sick. I feel bad now. I was like, hey, and then I went and grabbed me another spice rum and headed right over to Kaylani, nigga.
Bro,
Oh,
that's
Kaylani, yeah. Nah, but J Balvin put out a mixtape. I love how J Balvin appropriates Black culture. You know what I'm saying? J Balvin put out a mixtape called Mixtape in Spanish. I haven't listened to the whole thing yet. I'm just saying, like, if you look at his aesthetic, the way he goes about his music, it's black swag. It's black swag. I'm just saying that. The only thing I wanted to mention off here is I didn't listen to the project. The song with Stormzy is hard. That song is hard. That song is hard. He said, I'm God's favorite. He said, I'm God's favorite because God loves try. I don't know. He said it way harder than I did, but that verse is crazy. It's only a minute and 39 seconds long, but that's probably my favorite song that I've heard in the last week. I ain't gonna lie.
that Bruce Wayne song in there was pretty good too. Like the intro.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty
I'm gonna give it a
fire.
listen. I love J Balvin. I just, I said that because it's like when he comes out and I didn't know there were reggaeton mixtapes. I didn't know that was a thing.
I feel like the mixtape is just the shorter project of the project it doesn't have
That's
like
an
a
EP.
theme. So what?
That's an EP. That's an EP. Mixtape is some rap shit.
But I mean, you're right. No, you're right. Because there's no rock mixtapes. There's no. Okay, yeah. Okay, you're right.
Shout out
You're
the
right.
appropriation. Shout out the appropriation. Shout it out. Shout it out. Finally, my turn versus Wanna. This is probably you want to get into it. Or you want to save it for next week? We already have 43 minutes. What you think?
I guess we could save it for next week because we are at 43 minutes. That's all cool.
Okay. No, but we're gonna start with that. That's gonna be what we start with next week because I think that's a good topic to start with. You can even put in little baby tattoos. Put that in as a bullet point in there. You know what I'm saying? Because that's a thing on the internet. That's been a thing on the internet. I think that has been the most hilarious thing. Outside of the Jet 2 holiday sound, that's been the most hilarious thing I've seen all week.
That Jet 2 holiday sound is funny as hell, bro.
Bro, yes. Okay, let's give people the song. Like, what songs you got for the people this week? You know what I'm saying? Give them something good.
Okay. Well, I will give y'all that Joyner Lucas, J Balvin, Fireboy DML. There's like 5 people on that record. Oh, the baby's on it too. It doesn't even make no sense. Why is the baby on it?
The baby's on it?
But yeah, the baby's on it.
Yo, he's back. Yo, the baby is back, bro. I've been waiting for the baby to return, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you.
You know what, bro? I'm the type of person. The baby never left. He just started making okay music for like 2 albums. But that was one of my songs was that "Time Is Money," Jordan Lucas off ADHD 2. I'm gonna give this project a full listen, but I feel like Jordan Lucas has Eminem disease where he just saying a whole lot of nothing really fast. But good song. And then 1995, Freddie Gibbs, Alchemist. You know Alfredo 2 coming out, bro. Hey,
I'm an
you know
indie
it is.
animal. He's an indie animal. We some indie animals. Anytime I think of Freddie Gibbs, I think of that video, the Indie Animals video, because ain't nobody rapping from Indiana. He got the entire state on his back.
Hell yeah, bro. And you know what's funny, bro? I saw this like thread. It was like if you used to go to Freddie Gibbs' Instagram page, you couldn't open it in public because he used to be doing the wildest
That's
shit
a
on Instagram.
fact. That's a fact. Yo, he had a run. Shout out Gary, bro. Shout out to G. Shout out to G,
Yeah,
bro.
but
Yeah, but that song
those
was
are my
good.
two
That song
songs,
was
man.
good. I'm excited for that project, 1995. I'm excited. Oh, not
Yeah,
1995. Alfredo 2. The single is 1995, but yeah.
that's gonna be hard, bro. It's gonna be a real good album. I'm definitely excited for it. That first one is still one of those like staying power albums. Like I still listen to tracks off
Yeah.
there, bro.
Shout out Staying Power Wale. That's one of the hardest rap songs I've ever heard in my entire life. Okay, my songs, I got one for y'all. It's called 3x 3x. It's by Jim Legacy and Dave. We got a Dave verse this weekend. We got a Dave feature and we got a Stormzy feature. We've been spoiled. Jim Legacy is a name I've heard a lot over in the UK. He put out an album this week called Black British Music. I'm not really I understand like why it sounds the way it sounds, but it's not really my vibe so far. I'm gonna give it a full listen though. I'm gonna give it a try. But this song is good with Dave. Dave kills the melodic, sing-songy, almost begging for my girl, but I'm gonna let you know I got 500K in the bank records. That's one of those. That would be one of my first single, and then the second one, I'll give y'all an older song, "Soweto Baby" by DJ Matt Parissa, Wizkid, and DJ Bucks. That song is hard. As we got for y'all this week, if you think Drake's a culture vulture, let me know in the comments. I always love to see people hating on Drake in the comments because then I could come to his defense. You know what I'm saying? Next week, we're going Gunna versus Lil Baby. I think this is a great conversation now. I think it's a great conversation for a lot of reasons. I can't wait to talk about that next week. I can't lie. There goes the screen. So I think I'm just going to sign off for us this week. Yo, we'll see y'all next week, man. We'll see y'all next week.